Welcome to the one, the only. Welcome to Virginia International Raceway, right here at RaceFace.Pro TCR Season 3. I will be your host tonight, Stephen Koenig, and we have got Tim the cameraman ready to go. We have got Jim ready for the lights, and we got you guys, the spectators, out on ready to have a bit of a chat. I'm looking forward to seeing what everyone has to say. So big welcome to you all to Virginia Raceway, and I've got to say, a circuit that kind of has a love-hate relationship for a couple of drivers, including myself. One of these circuits I just can't seem to get the hang of, but that was prior to the update, where if you fall off, you're landing up on ice. This time a little bit different. So our 5.2 kilometer hilly circuit with lots of undulations is really going to challenge our drivers as they push their way to the top this evening. And we have got quite a few things to just catch up, as we are currently on round 3, which is our second last round of the season. We have 2 heats as our cars head out for qualifying. So let's take a look at the points and start with our pro class. Yes, it is working. I got it working. It's taken me hours to get this, so please forgive me for being too excited. So Johan Fourie out in first place, Willem Buerta in second, Dino Sturman in third, Luke Lucchesi, Chase Herald, Steven Slavov running currently in sixth place, Werner Skuman, followed by Noah Hendricks, Jason Coetzee, Paul Gerber, Ryan Ottens, Morgan McCall, and Jan Krobler going and rounding out our championship points, with Jason Coetzee not scoring points in the last rounds, along with Paul Gerber, Ryan Ottens, Morgan McCall. But take a look how close the points are between Luke Lucchesi and Chase Herald. They ride on top of one another, and you cannot take away Steven Slavov with also is that mix. So you got Werner Skuman on 52, Steven in with 54, and then you have got the likes of Luke Lucchesi and Chase Herald 59 and 55 points. Take a look at our pro-ams though, because we've got 2 sets of classes. Werner Swart leading it out, along with Timothy Stanton in second place, trying to close up the ground. Roland Ferrer, Nico Killerman, Farney Gravenstein, and I've seen that Farney is unable to get to the grid. Heartbreak. Absolute heartbreak. Farney, you're 5th in the championship. If there's any way you can go and get yourself in for Heat 2, valuable points on the line. Visti Solgrad saying it had to get something to eat, so Visti, get yourself in as well. We still got a second heat, and you guys are both battling for positions, as you can see, for 5th and 6th, followed by Robbie Teenings, Jeff Hancock, Stoke Herbert, James Pepper, Steve Pepper, Arno Kraus, Hilton Nixon, and there's Nokia rounding out our field. A bit of a tie going on with Arno Kraus and Hilton Nixon. But let's take a look to the track, as we have got qualifying currently underway, and Willem Buerta, a couple of drivers, that final corner being quite a problem, and nearly a pit lane runner for as the cars come through. So, as we take a look, Fourie out in first place, our 2-time RaceFace TCR champion, looking to try and make it a 3-time at this point, has got Peter Hubert very close to him. The two have fought it out in round 1, round 2, and now for round 3. Remember, each round has 2 individual heats that is going to make it. See, Stolgrad has made it to the grid. So, well done, Visti. Good to see you made it to the grid. Urian Swart also out on the track, going to be having a bit of fun. He is in the pro division, hoping to claw his way through. Timothy Stanton lying in 4th place. Visti Stolgrad currently lying in 5th. Werner Swart in 6th. As it stands, with our times currently on the board, but you can see our pro and pro-am as the drivers are making their way through. This, I've got to say, has been the greatest change to the TCR and F4s. And I'm going to say that I know I'm out of turn in it, but by including the classes has really opened up the championship for a lot of these drivers, where they can look at where they are and try and focus onto an attack. And we've got quite a few pro-ams against our pros, and that's going to make a world of difference come the race. So Luke Lucchesi out in second place. Peter Hubert down into third place. Yuri Swart up into fourth. Timothy Stanton in fifth. Sixth is Visti Stolgrad. Werner Swart coming across the line in seventh position. Out on the grandstands, though, I see Fani Gravenstein going and saying, how's it? Good to see him out there. And we have also got Visti Stolgrad, who went and said, how's it? So we've got quite a few people going and having a bit of fun. We do have a couple of international guys racing with us, Visti Stolgrad, along with Steve Pepper and James Pepper. Now, I do owe the Peppers a sorry, because I was meant to race with them on Sunday, but unfortunately, time did not work out for me. 11 o'clock at night, work the next day, didn't quite work. So to the Peppers, sorry, but coming back at you guys, don't run away. Roland Ferreira also out on circuit, part of the backmarkers team, puts himself into third place. He's been on a proper challenge to try and claw his way through, so keep an eye on him. Along with Arno Kraus, a little bit ahead. Arno Kraus hoping to take the charge right to the front in the Castrol colours of the Honda Civic as he marches his way around. Noah Hendricks out on circuit. Yuri Swart Sr. So we do have Yuri Swart and Yuri Swart Sr. Now, know lots of people are going to get rather confused by there's two Yuri Swarts. Essentially, think of it this. Yuri Swart is Yuri Swart Jr. This is Senior. So this is Dad driving, that's out there having a bit of fun. Yuri Swart, younger chap that races in likes of VW Challenge and also in the SAES with Cara Hill. Jeff Hancock's also out on circuit. He's hoping to get a little bit more of a run. James Pepper, Willem Buerta, Steve Pepper, Swayze Jabert, and Fani Gravenstein going and rounding out our field this evening. So, a couple of things have been going on. A couple of guys have also gone for a Fuji 8-hour. Jeff Hancock's coming off that, teaming up with Doe Herber and the likes of Devin Ellis, and unfortunately they weren't able to finish due to significant damages on the car, but that's not going to crush any motivation coming this evening. Peaceful, smooth music going and saying, go Roland. And I'm sure Roland is not listening to peaceful, smooth music. He's not listening to the jazz in the car. I think he's more listening to something that can pump him up, something to get him going, something like Thunderstruck, or maybe, no, wait, I'm going too far. Maybe he's listening to a bit of Taylor Swift. Peaceful, smooth music. Maybe you can give us a bit of an idea. Maybe he's listening to a bit of Taylor Swift in this mix. So, as our drivers make their way around the circuit, we are getting things sorted. Saying some rock and roll is happening in that car. Well, hopefully there's a whole lot of rock and not a whole lot of roll in there, because last thing you want to do in these cars. Jan Free still out on the charge with a time to beat, a 1:57.055 compared to Yuri Swart doing a 1:57.426. Very close in times, and they will be keeping an eye on that. Swayze Jabert down in third place is looking to try and move himself forward. First of our pros AMs that are currently out on the track. Then you got Werner Swart trying to chase him down. Keep an eye on these two. They also had a very close battle in round two. Especially, I would say round one. Rodskin. Motocenter was the last time they came to blows. Roland Ferreira also being part of that charge. Peter Hubert, Noah Hendricks, Visti Stolgrad out on the circuit. Good to hear Visti Stolgrad, and got to have a chat with the youngster and get a bit of a feel of what's expected. Currently trying to get used to the fields, getting used to the racing. The front wheel drive's becoming a little bit more challenging. Says that most of the time he's out in the service utilizing GT3s, and that does change things up a little bit. So he's trying to improve his racing style into these front wheel drive TCR cars. Not an easy thing to do, but with an open setup, it does allow you to dial out some of the understeer that happens, or some of the oversteer that lands up becoming the case. So the drivers will have to keep that in mind and try and figure out what's going to work for them. Yuri going in, Free putting in a 156.8 as his quickest lap time there, with Swant also going and battling out 156.9. So those times starting to tumble down. Luke Lucchese pulling into the pits. He's only been able to get that 57.6. But with Willem Buerta, now Willem Buerta, keep an eye on him. He also had a very, very close run in round 1. That's going to change things up as well. And he is fighting currently for the top spots in our Pro Championship. Remember, maximum amount of points to go for. So if you do land up in any crashes in this, the pit crew have unlimited spares that they can get these cars sorted and back out on the circuit. Every time you come in first place, though, that is 50 points that gets put to your team. So bear that in mind as the drivers make their way through. They will have to think about the long game in this one. So let's actually see if we can pull up the points and give you a rough idea of what these drivers are looking for, especially this late into the season. And it's not going to be an easy one for everyone to work out. They're going to have to think what's going to be their way to move forward. And remember, this does help their championship. So it's all about sticking it out there and getting it to the line. So 50 points for first place, 43 points for second, third place is 38, right the way down till 32nd position, you do get a point. So you need to finish a race, get to the end of the line, and you will be classified in the points. The higher up you are, the better it goes. But even if you're laps down on the field, you can still walk away with some valuable points in the pocket that can change the entire championship on its head. And as we saw the two splits, there's not much in it between our champions for Pro and for Pro-Am. There will be the inaugural welcoming for it. Jan Fourie has won 2 times the championships for the TCR, but that's been an overall championship. That's before the classing system has come into place. So overall champion has gone to Fourie. Let's see if he'll be able to maintain that pace. Yurion Piswat looking to try and get rid of that pace. He wants to get a little bit closer. Luke Lucchese as well, trying to get a little bit more drive. The RDSA Pantera racing machine. Willem Buerta sliding his way through with that little Veloster. I gotta say, I love the Veloster around the circuit. The snappy, short wheelbase does make it rather tricky, but especially through more of the tighter sections, you can really get on the power a lot earlier than the likes of what we're seeing here, the Lantra that goes and favors the long, smooth corners like the S's, maneuvering your way up. So keep an eye on that. Cars do come into perspective here. The BOPs are very, very close. When we talk about BOPs, we talk about balance of performance, and what comes down to that is the cars are very, very close in weight, if not everything. And then it's also going to be part of, engine power restrictions, how much throttle you can use. We do see those getting added in automatically by the iRacing system. Just got notice though, Doug Herber is going to be missing out race 1. Unfortunately, work has called him in and said, listen, got to get some sorted out, got to pay the bills. So he will be missing out some valuable points out for this race. He's a little bit lower in the championship, so it doesn't hit him as hard, but still not what you want to be having. 15 cars have put a time on the board. There is 17 vehicles that are racing that need to still get out and put a time on the board, so bear that in mind. We're going to have a very, very busy field out in the world of Virginia. Gotta say, very, very interesting circuit. I think the biggest loss actually goes to anyone that's been to Virginia, or if anyone's driven on the old iRacing service itself, will remember heading up to the top of the circuit. There's a very, very tight hairpin as we see the drivers going through. On the inside, there used to be this ginormous oak tree that's been there since, I think, Noah's Ark ran aground and rotted away at that point. Unfortunately, that was cut down. The track was also laser scanned, and that poor little tree has gone away. A staple of Virginia, and also a useful brake marker, gone by the wayside. Got in the way of the dinosaurs, as they would say. Taking a look, we do have a couple of spectators out in the grandstands. I see that we've got a couple of pets also keeping an eye on the battle. So there's a couple of, some of the spectators saying their pets are watching, cats, dogs, mice, even the parrots are watching. And then we've also got it. So great to see that the whole broadcast goes out to everyone in the mammals and even non-mammals. Maybe we have a fish tank or two watching as well. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you're liking what we've got, go and hit the subscribe button, hit that bell notification icon, leave us a thumbs up as we're running to the end of our qualifying. We 10 subscribers short to my Christmas wish of hitting 1,000 subscribers. So if you're part of that 10, please hit subscribe because we're so close. We do have F1 2023 running at the same time as us, but let's be honest, F1's fun, but not as fun as sliding a TCR car. As we saw Luke Lucchese, he bails off into the dirt, and that is going to cost him time as our qualifying has come to an end. All the drivers still trying to put their foot down, and you can see even Peter Hubert going and sliding his way through. Werner Swart trying to carve his way through the S's. This is where the Elantra has a lot of an easier run up the hill versus the likes of the Veloster. Quick kink to try and get yourself going, and that can always upset the car. You never ever braking in a straight line on the circuit. Even when it looks like it, you've got a slight steering input that will go and get it a little bit out of shape. With a open setup, you can try and stabilize your cars for that. As we see Noah Hendricks, he's going a little bit slow. Visti Solgrad trying to get a little bit more of a push. He's lying in 12th position as it stands. Fanny Gravenstein going and having a bit of a run as well. Finally, if I do keep getting your surname wrong, please just send me a WhatsApp and send me a voice note of how to say the name right. Visti, same thing to you. Would love to also get that right of our competitors. I know that I get it a bit wrong once, twice, 3 times more. As for the peppers, don't worry, I'll only be salt in the wounds. But, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, out there in the grandstands, who are you supporting this evening as we are now into round 3, time running out for the championship? We have got literally, this is the second last heat, well, the second last round of the racing. We have 2 heats in each race, so we have got 4 heats left for the entire 2023. As our cars pull off the circuit, we will be heading down to the grid soon, and Jim will be showing us our grid positions. But here at Virginia International Raceway, VIR, a completely free circuit on the iRacing service that you will be able to use, which is brilliant because you guys at home can actually go testing. You can go have a bit of fun on the circuit, see if you can crack the best lap time. So for the best lap time being a 1:56.62 set by Johan Ferrari. So if you will be able to get that, I want you to go and let us know. Take a photo, tag us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, wherever you are on your social platforms and say, Raceface, I got a quicker lap time. I tried doing this lap time with an LMP1 car. I nailed it into the wall. So don't look at me for trying to beat that out. So, as our cars going to be lining up, there is our grid. Jan Ferrari out in first place. Jurion Piswart out in second, along with Willem Buerta. Then we got Luke Lucchese, Peter Hubert, Werner Swart, Timothy Stanton, Swayze Jabert, Jeff Hancock, Roland Ferreira, Noah Hendricks, Fanny Gravenstein, followed by the likes of Visti Stalgrad, Arna Kraus, James Pepper, Yuri Swart Sr. and Steve Pepper rounding out our field here tonight. As our cars have lined up on the line, they will be looking to get the jump. Free leading out our Pro class will be looking for a good start. Leading out our Pro-Am is Werner Swart. So he's got a lot of pressures. Timothy Stanton lying next to him. Noah Hendricks a little bit further down than he planned, is stuck between our Pro-Am class. So keep an eye on him. He's going to try his best to get out and going as fast as he can. But Jan Fourie, Yuri Swart, Willem Buerta, and Luc Lequesne, along with Peter Dubé, we've seen these drivers come to blow once before. Let's see if it's going to happen again as we wait for the lights. Jan Fourie lining up, standing start, 20 minutes of racing, and away they go. Slow start for everyone, but it does look like Luc Lequesne did get a better drive off the line, trying to catch up, go side by side. Willem Buerta, and you can see Yuri Swart trying to go around the outside. It's going to go late on the brakes to try and keep it all together. Buerta sticking his nose up on the inside. Peter Dubé going and trying everything he can, but it does look like Fourie spitting out. That's going to drop him down the order. Hopefully he can get that car back out on the circuit and do everything he can. Peter Dubé going door-to-door racing with Luc Lequesne. Gets pushed out a little bit wide. Timothy Stanton off to a great start, trying to move up. Big send by Jeff up on the inside, getting past Timothy. And now Timothy, losing that little bit of drive, will be trying to come back at him as he's got Werner Swart right behind him. Roland Ferreira pushing as hard as he can. Contact between the drivers. And you can hear radio where the guys have landed up with a bit of problems as well. So a couple of drivers going and landing up with a bit of a rough start on the way through. Side-by-side action not working out for most. Willem Buerta going and fighting out. Yuri Swart a little bit early on the power of the Audi, trying to get a little bit more drive. Luc Lequesne also trying to pull away from Peter Dubé as they close their way down. Werner Swart trying to pull away from the likes of Roland Ferreira at this point in our Pro-Am class. But out in first place, Yuri looking for the inside. Umpi's going to try, go later on the brakes. Willem goes around the outside, closes off. Now it's going to be hard braking into the hairpin. And Buerta not getting the same drive will lose out that little bit of spacing to Yuri Swart. Does move to the center of the circuit to try and lock him down. Yuri bouncing the car all over, sliding as he's right on the back wing of Buerta. Buerta's not going to get out of this one. Goes to the inside line, trying to defend. You can see Luc Lequesne trying to line himself up as well as they maneuver their way around. Looks to try and get past, but Buerta just having that little bit more top end underneath him does help, but seems to be losing out through the corners as the Audi of Yuri Swart trying to hustle him along at this point, trying to pull a little bit of a gap as they fight their way through. Luc Lequesne down in third place. Peter Dubé down in fourth. Then we have got Jeff Hancock's Werner Swart trying to keep ahead of Timothy Stanton with Roland Ferreira right up his gearbox as well. Noah Hendricks moving up 2 positions from where he started. He's down the order at the moment for our AM, but has got Visti Stalgrad right behind him. Couple of drivers needing to still get going. On across, he's dealing with Yuri Swart Sr., along with Jan Fourie a little bit further back. Suresh Jabir, Fanny Gravestein, James Pepper, all still out of it. And it looks like Steve Pepper was a little bit late to the grid. He is waiting to get back out there. Willem Buerta, Yuri Swart still going to take the fight to one another. Yuri does look for the inside line. Buerta goes out wide, catches a huge tank slapper. Little kiss of the wall, but that is going to slow him down. If he can try get that car back on circuit, he's got to be careful of the rejoin. Comes next to Jeff Hancock's, who's going to have the drive to pull away from him. But that does give the position to Yuri Swart. And then you've got Luc Lequesne trying to give a little bit of chase. So easily to run over the marbles. But Jeff Hancock's now up into fourth place. First to the Pro-Ams, eyeing out third place overall. Peter Dubé just ahead of him. But Willem Buerta now getting back on the pressure, will be clawing his way through. And you can see the lap times different between Jeff Hancock's with the 2:11.1 versus the pros doing the 2:08, 2:07s as they try and claw their way through. Jeff goes and falls off the circuit though, trying to rejoin as Timothy Stanton trying to get a little bit closer to Jeff Hancock's at this moment, as Jeff really needs to put the power down to try and pull away and hold his position. But Werner Swart going and saying thank you very much. He jumps himself up into first of our Pro-Am class and looking to put the pressure onto the back of Buerta. Going to follow it all the way through as it stands. So our drivers hoping to get a little bit closer to one another. It is starting to open up, but that is naturally what the track does, where it relies on a little bit of just freedom of air to move around. But one person that hasn't got a bit of air to move around is Yuri Swart, with Luke Lucchesi immediately onto the back of him. Luke trying to push as hard as he can, looks for the inside line, backs out of it. He's not going to go for the pass just as yet, and we'll try and figure out how it's all going to work out. So, with that being said, let's actually take a look and see if we can find out what happened to Suez Jabir a little bit earlier. So Suez Jabir comes into a bit of contact, goes around. It was a bit of pandemonium, and drivers trying to get themselves going, free going and just getting himself sorted out there. So a bit of pandemonium earlier on, and that included the likes of James Pepper and more that got caught up in the pandemonium. That is not how you want to start off your Heat 1. So it's going to be very, very interesting for anyone that doesn't know. Thank you very much to Tim, going and putting that in Heat 1. Thanks, Tim. I know you don't trust me with my words, but you don't have to put it flat on the screen as well. Peter Hubert going out a little bit wide, loses out the drive. Willem Buerta says thank you very much. Going to go around the outside, carries on the pace. Werner Swart looks up on the inside, bounces over the curb, and much like racing around Knock Hill, where you spend most of your time on three wheels, well, it's going to happen all again. Out in first place, though, Yuri Swart, Luke Lucchesi, and Luke trying to close down the distance at the moment. Not able to get the same pace as the likes of Yuri Swart. Then you've got Willem Buerta, who puts in the fastest lap time so far for our pros, a 58.492. And actually fastest lap time overall, because Werner Swart managing to get a 58.543. Brake discs glowing as they're trying to utilize every bit of the circuit as possible. Brake as late as possible. Try and get the tail to swing in as much as they can. But Peter Hubert, who is in an almighty battle, has to be rather careful of what he's doing at the moment, because he's got drivers closing down on him at a rate of knots. As we jump on board with Peter Hubert through the S, as you can see, you've got to be absolutely committed before the kink, and this is where it gets a little bit tricky. A slight lift on the throttle, blip down a gear, and you sort it. But like as you saw ahead of to Willem Buerta, getting a little bit sideways can compromise a bit of time. So you've got to make sure you're A-OK on your passing. So Peter Hubert, Willem Buerta, closest battle out on circuit, and they are fighting it out for class honors, looking to try and maximize some points at the moment. Buerta trying to go defensive, had a brilliant start until he ran out wide and lost out a few positions. Now has Hubert immediately onto the back of his tail, trying to push him a little bit harder, trying to figure out what's going to work for him. Free though, keep an eye on him, lying a little bit further down the order. He's down in 13th position overall, but has done the fastest lap time of the race with a 57. As Buerta runs out wide, that is going to cause a penalty, kill his drive, and now we'll be having a problem. Werner Swart behind, trying to keep an eye. He's breaking away from Jeff Hancock and Timothy Stanton, so they are looking to try and pull themselves along, get away from the rest of the field. But it is turning into a hot battle for third place of our pros, and with Werner Swart, who is first of our Pro-Ams, looking to try and get involved as well. A lot of these drivers, when I've actually asked, I've said, guys, do you remember who you're versing in terms of Pro and Pro-Am? And the answers I got, even from the likes of Timothy Stanton, Luke Lucchesi, all of the drivers saying the same thing. We don't worry about that. we race the car ahead of us, we race the car behind us, and whatever position we come in is what we come in. So that is the motive for these drivers, is just to push themselves a little bit harder. And just taking a look, we do have yellow flags for James Pepper. Let's see what happened to James Pepper. Coming around, hard on the brakes. Oh, snap oversteer. Goes out wide, tries to bring it back, but that Audi just didn't want to play the ball game with him. Losing out that little bit of drive has cost him a bit of time. And James Pepper and Steve Pepper not having the best outings for this time round. But he's going to try and keep his foot in it. There's still valuable points. 17th position does mean that he will be scoring points as they go on. 17th position will get them 16 points for the championship. So that's going to be rather beneficial. As we see Werner Swart closing up on Peter Bear. Peter Bear going after Willem Buerta right up the rear gearbox, pushing that little Veloster around, little Veloster of Willem Buerta. The RDSA Esports once again going out a little bit wide, does lose that drive. Oh, and we got, that is James Pepper with a massive accident, dropping a wheel on the dirt, has thrown him into the wall with a monstrous impact. And let's actually see if we can go on board with that. Give us a bit of an idea of what happened for James Pepper. So this is from his cockpit. You can see sliding around, tries to catch it on the dirt. Tries to bring it back. And just not all working out for James at this point. We'll have to look at what's going to work out for him. Tries to bring it back, and I think he gets on the power a little bit too early. Nope, this is a little bit too far back. So that was the first of the problems that came through. Good thing we got to see a little bit of it. Big thank you to Tim going and putting cameras in the cars without, well, I gotta say, for everyone out there in the grandstands, the cameras that you're seeing out in the cars, drivers don't know about it. We snuck it in. Don't look at the pool noodle. That's all I'm saying. But taking a look, Jeff Hancock's, he's got Timothy Stanton. Timothy going and flashing his lights saying, listen, I'm going to come through, buddy. You best be well aware of it. We're going to put the pressure down. And Timothy, big look up on the inside, backs out of it. The Roland intake manifolds car going after the Onendorf machinery, the team Try Hard Racing, as he tries to fight his way through. So Jeff sliding, trying to keep a bit of power down. Timothy Stanton, though, did give a little bit of a look to try and get past, backs out of it. He's going to look again a little bit further down the road and hope to close down. Another battle that's starting to go and get a little bit wild is Werner Swart. Remember, he is sitting first of our Pro-Am class, so the two cars ahead of him, Peter Bear and Willem Buerta, are not for class position, but Hubert looking behind him, sees Swart going and pressurizing him at this point, trying to figure out how can he get past. Then you've got Willem Buerta, who's just losing out under braking, not having the same type of drive as he would like to get going, as they fight their way through the order. Hard on the throttle, and Swart looking to the inside of Hubert, not able to go for it just as yet. Got to travel his way up through the hill. It's all about carrying the momentum. Both cars evenly matched through this sector. We'll be trying to figure out what's going to work for them and how they are going to power their way through. And there is the sector times for the likes of Swart compared to Hancock's, and that is within class. And you can see how Jeff is a little bit down on Swart, but Swart does have a closer lap time to the likes of the car ahead of him. So he's got to be aware of the situation, figure out what's going to work for him, and how they're going to battle their way around the circuit. So Werner Swart keeping the pressure on, looks up on the inside of Peter Hubert, not able to get it just as yet. goes and gets back onto the throttle and tries to pull away. So, as it stands, Yuri Umpi-Swart leading out the entire field with Luke Lucchesi in second place of Pro and second overall. Willem Buerta lying third place and third overall, along with fourth place Peter Joubert, fourth in, in our Pro class, and now battling it out for fourth overall as Werner does take a big look around the outside. Couldn't make it work. Gonna try, go for the cutback. Not able to do it just as yet. Werner Swart, who is lurking behind at the moment, is first of our Pro-Ams. Then we have got Jeff Hancock's lying and fighting with Timothy Stanton for second and third of their class. So bit of a class battles going on around the circuit. Werner Swart trying to go and show the pros how it's done. Jeff Hancock, though, falls off the circuit. That's not going to help him. And let's see if we can see what happened to Jeff in that last little moment that dropped him off the track. Oh, contact with Stanton caused the little bit of a problem. And Stanton going and losing out that drive. But Roland Ferreira saying thank you very much. He manages to take second position at this point, trying to get away from Jeff Hancock's. Noah Hendricks also a benefit on the likes of Timothy Stanton and Jeff Hancock's, as he's ahead of Timothy Stanton. Timothy closing down at a rate of knots. Noah Hendricks trying to do everything he can to defend. Backs out of it, allows Timothy Stanton to go through. He's going to keep up driving, knows that he's not fighting in the same class, and it's not going to put too much of an issue there. His one is a little bit further back, as Jan Ferree is only 2 positions behind. Then we got Visti Stalgrad in 10th position. Arno Kraus making his way through. He was part of earlier contact. He's keeping on going. Jan Ferree lying in 6th overall. Now 6th in his class. Yuri Swart Sr. chasing him down. Swayze Joubert back out on the circuit with Farney Graveseen, James Pepper and Steve Pepper, unfortunately not going and having the best of luck for their races right here at Virginia. So the Peppers not getting their best outing, but will be looking at what they can do come Heat 2 and get those cars all sorted. Jeff Hancock, though, has entered pit lane, and I think that has been from a bit of damage to the car. Yuri Umpi-Swart losing out the drive. That is going to allow Luke Lucchesi to come back at him. Side by side they go, but Luke Lucchesi managing to eke out ahead. Will try and get the little bit more drive with the likes of Yuri Umpi-Swart closing up on his tail. Now Yuri needs to try and fight it out. Luke Lucchesi looking to try and score maximum points for our Pro-Am as they fight their way through, getting back onto the throttle, pushing as hard as he can. Luke is not going to back down from this one. Yuri does look for the inside line, couldn't get it all together just as yet, but is running over those curbs. He is hunting down, desperately going and grabbing at straws, whatever's going to work for the little Audi as they start to close up on a bit of back markers. And I think that's Farney Graveseen that's ahead of them. They've got to be well aware of the battle. Yuri looks up on the inside, puts Luke Lucchesi on the outside. Luke's going to be able to try and swing around. Will have the advantage breaking into the kink. And you can see these two are not holding back from one another over the curb, door to door, wing mirror to wing mirror. This is touring car action at its finest with the racing that we're having out here. Battles ongoing throughout the circuit. Even Hansi Myberg jumping in. He is supporting Arno Kraus and Jeff Hancock's at the moment. But our fight between these two as Yuri Swart going and doing everything he can. Luke Lucchesi, though, has got a problem. Luke Lucchesi's come to a stop. So what on earth happened to Luke Lucchesi? Gets himself going, but let's see if we can try to take a look from the roll bar. He's got no drive. Something disconnected in that car that he lost drive. So Yuri Umpi-Swart decided, well, if you got no drive, you're in my way, get out of it. Going and giving him a little bit of a shove and moving his way through. Absolutely monstrous run And taking a look over to our grandstands, Steve Pepper jumping in saying, how's it, Stephen? Sorry, not with the guys racing tonight. My wheelbase has failed. Hope to get it sorted soon and see you all out on the track. Oh, man. Oh, heart goes out to you, Steve. And that's Steve Pepper all the way out from the UK, just going and reporting in that he had a mechanical failure. One of the most reliable drivers and reliable rigs that I've ever come across. It looks like it's finally given up the ghost. Hopefully you can get that sorted out as soon as you can. Fingers crossed, knees, toes, the full works, bud, because we want to see you back out and putting some pressure on our South Africans and also doing battle. Peter Hubert trying to get past Werner Swart. Werner now getting around him, looks to the inside line, able to get it going and will fight his way through. But Werner right on the back of Peter Hubert, not able to get the same drive out of the kink. That is losing out a little bit of time. You can see Hubert bouncing over the curbs at this point, trying to maneuver his way through. But I do think Werner Swart at this stage, with his lap times throughout the season, will be advancing into pro come next season. There's no question about it. He can fight for the pros. So absolutely proper racing. Lucas Durbin, I bought a car from Yuri Umpiswat today. So Yuri getting a little bit of fun out there. And Lucas Durbin saying, thank you very much for the car, Yuri. Glad to be driving it. So Lucas Durbin going and shouting out. And congratulations on it. And Steve Pepper just going and giving them that further report of, it failed as he went into quali. And I mean, that's unfortunately just, it's Murphy's Law, as I say, that comes into it. Had it before, and I think many drivers can relate with it. Yuri Umpiswat out in first place. Buerta getting it completely wrong. Tries to go and pull the car back. Does lose out the drive. That allows Peter Hubert right onto the back of him. Werner Swart still putting heaps amount of pressure right behind him. Luke Leclerc has pulled into the pits, so whatever's gone wrong with his base or his car has put him into the pits to get it sorted out. And that is just going to change up the race dynamic a little bit further, as Ferrari, who fell all the way down, has been putting in consistent 156 or 64s. There he is in 9th place. So he has been on a proper charge. He's 5th place in class, still scoring a good amount of points, but is closing down on Noah Hendricks as quick as possible. So he wants to try and close down on Noah Hendricks at this point to get a little bit more pace underneath him. Battle for 3rd place overall, and well, that's what it is. It's battle for 3rd place overall. Peter Hubert and Werner Swart. Werner still putting heaps of pressure as they come across the line. Yuri Umpiswat taking the checkered flag. Willem Buerta, Peter Hubert, Werner Swart. Roland Ferreira will be taking 5th position along with Timothy Stanton, who will be coming across the line. Noah Hendricks, also a phenomenal result for him, up 4 positions. Visti Stolgrad, our international contingent, up 5 positions. Jan Ferrari from 1st to last, back up to 9th. Lost 8 positions that run, but will be going and taking home 5th place points for our pro honor cross coming across the line. Yuri Swart Sr. along with Suez Jabir, Luke Leclerc, Farney Gravenstein also will be finishing out along with Jeff Hancock's in the pits, finishing up in 15th. 16th is James Pepper, and as we heard, Steve Pepper having that mechanical failure, going and losing out on a couple of points. So yeah, a bit of a blow there, but as our drivers make their way through, phenomenal results had by our drivers. And yeah, it is going to be a monumental battle as we see a couple of the drivers. They are just giving it all they can. They will be trying to get it into the pits nicely. So it's going to be a proper one. Taking a look, Lucas Sermon saying he's doing the OKL World Finals next week. So unfortunately, that's not going to be working out. So that's why we've got Luca Sturman, who is setting this one out. Luca, from our side, good luck for the OKL World Finals. That is a karting sim that he's going to be on. So, yeah, TCR is a little bit different from that. Front-wheel drive, go-kart, same thing, you know. But absolutely phenomenal run. So, taking a look at our finishing positions. Yuri Umpiswa taking first place, along with Willem Buerta, Peter Hubert, Noah Hendricks, along with Jan Ferry in 5th position. Luc Lucchesi will be taking 6th. Then moving over to our Pro-Am. A lot of changes happened there. Werner Swart taking the top honors. Roland Ferreira, Timothy Stanton, Visti Stalgrad, Arno Kraus, Yuri Senior, Suez Jabir, Fani Gravenstein, Jeff Hancock, James Pepper, and Steve Pepper rounding out the field for that run. So it's going to be a proper little charge for all our drivers. And I've got to say, a phenomenal run for our drivers. But let's see what they will be able to do come the next race, scoring valuable points to their championships. Now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have got 2 minutes before we move on to our next server. Our Heat 2 that will be coming up. So we're going to just cut to a beautiful shot of our last race. Barber Motorsports going and putting on a phenomenal show. A bit of a low field. Did go and change up the game. But honestly, some good racing overall happened at Barber Motorsports. But the Virginia International also putting in a phenomenal run. Taking a look, Doug Herber saying, unfortunately, he will not be in Heat 2 as well. He's going to be standing on the pit wall, going and supporting his fellow teammates, and giving some radio comms. A little bit of work has got him tied up. So Doug Herber going to be out of the grid for the evening. Now we just wait patiently for our next race to fire up and get going. Sitting, waiting patiently. Oh, it's always a bit of a killer at this point. But Virginia International Raceway has been a very interesting circuit for the drivers, having to try and carve their way through. The reason we have Barber Motorsports showing at the moment is just a beautiful shot of Jim doing, he's doing the best job. Gotta say, Tim the cameraman giving us the shots, but Jim, he waves that flag like a champion. Gonna say that. So 5.26 kilometers long corner, looking at 17 corners. Make it a little bit more, about 19 corners, because we do have a 17A and 17B essentially coming into play. That does change things up. 11 and 12, corner 11, 12, which is at the top of the circuit where the oak tree used to be. Also providing some great opportunity moments to just get the drive out on your competitors and try and push yourselves a little bit further. Left hook and NASCAR bend, which is turn 3, turn 4, did see a bit of contact early on for our drivers, and they will be keeping that in mind this time around. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we will be heading into our final heat of the evening, and I gotta say, can't wait to see how the drivers are going to do for this one. Lots on the line for our drivers, hoping to get a little bit more pace underneath them. They want to make a bit of an impact here tonight to score some valuable points. So let's cut over to our track and catch you up on all the information of Virginia International Raceway. Remember, it is a bit hot out there, 22 degrees out on circuit. Timing software decides to do whatever it wants to do. There we go. Thank you very much, Tim. Gotta say, good thing Tim is a great person in IT. Some say Tim whispered the idea to Vosniak. Now, for anyone that doesn't know Vosniak, he was the right-hand man to Steve Jobs, who went and marketed Apple. Wozniak was part of was the original to make Apple what it is, the Apple PC, which then Steve Jobs marketed out of it. He had the idea, Wozniak put it together, but Tim the cameraman was the first person to whisper in the ear and tell Wozniak how to do it. A bit of info, just chucking out there. Tim the cameraman has done a lot. And you know what? For the Peppers, for Steve Pepper and James Pepper, just to let you know, Tim the cameraman also owns a 3-hump camel. Yes, 3 humps, not 2, 3. Not 1, 3. So how's that one? So it's going to be an interesting one. And just taking a look, Steve Pepper has zipped up his overalls. He has got his helmet on and will be heading out to the circuit. So Steve Pepper will be out for Heat 2. He will be in this. Honestly, Steve Pepper, great to see you, James. I hope you're also going to be having a bit of fun. But let's take a look at our points beforehand. This is our Pro-Am class. Werner Swart leading out, followed by Timothy Stanton, Roland Ferreira, Nico Killerman, Farney Gravestein in 5th position, Visti Solgrad in 6th. 7th is Robbie Teenings, followed by Jeff Hancock's Doe Herber, who's missing out a bit of points, will be losing out some time to the likes of James Pepper, Steve Pepper, Arno Kraus with a great move through. Hilton Nixon hasn't pitched up onto the circuit as yet, and Luke Nokia as well getting caught out. Moving on to our Pro class, as we see cars coming out: Jan Ferree, Willem Buerta, Dino Sturman, Luke Lucchesi, Chase Herald, Steven Slavov, Werner Skuma, Noah Hendricks, Jason Coetzee out in 9th place, Paul Gerber, Ryan Ottens, who is one of the drivers that hasn't been out on the grid. Lewis Nokia, actually, I see we got a bit of a timing error there. He's got 46 points, so I think, yeah, that is a bit of a problem. I do apologize for that. In terms of our Pro, there seems to be a Lewis sitting in the wrong place, but we do have a couple of drivers out of our Pro standings. That being said, let's head to the track as we saw the guys coming out for their second run of the evening. And SDK doing something funny, and I have never seen that happen before. Honestly, never seen that happen before. So let's see if we could try and fix that, because it's kind of sitting in a weird spot. I think it's had a little bit too much to drink. So refresh. Did I break it? Did I break it? Fingers crossed that I didn't. Nope, I didn't. It's still okay. Whew. Shoo. Okay. You don't want to believe how much that started stressing me out. More than in 24 hours. Because I have broken it too many times before. I've had Tim get cross at me because he's had to fix it numerous times before. Taking a look at the times, Suez Jabir out in 1st place, Roland Ferrer putting in 2nd, and Visti Solgrad currently 3rd. Couple of drivers still needing pit times on the board. Jan Ferree, who's looking to better his last lap time, his last time out in Heat 2, will be putting on a bit of a charge. And as said, this is the qualifying for Heat 2. It's 15 minutes that the drivers will be going out and having a bit of fun. So interesting times, interesting things to be seen, and I'm really looking forward to how it's all going to travel. So Jabir, Jeff Hancock's up in 2nd, Peter Hubert putting himself into 3rd, Roland Ferreira out in 4th, Visti Stalgrad, Timothy Stanton, James Pepper out into 7th, losing it off into the dirt. I think he's got the same as me as just this circuit either clicks with you or it doesn't. Johan Ferrari, Yuri Swart Sr. who also had a fantastic drive out. And just taking a look, he has got the auto on the side. I couldn't quite see the sponsors on the side of that car. But our drivers now looking to try and improve. There is a best lap times. Werner Swart out there. Steve Pepper of the Cool Camels now back out on the circuit after having mechanical failure of the entire wheelbase. And when we talk about wheelbase, for everyone at home that's never experienced sim racing, it is the motor that drives it. Think of your car. You've got your steering wheel and it connects all to your car. It's the engine. It's the thing that makes a lot of noise, makes it work, gets it going. That fails, well, you're in a whole lot of trouble, and it does plague everything. If you have a wheelbase failure, sometimes it can affect your pedal inputs. It can affect by disconnecting your pedals. It can be all of it. Luke Lucchesi also seems like he's come right with whatever issue he had. They managed to get that up and going. He's going to be fighting it out once again. So it's going to be a proper run. Lucas Herman, I wonder if Virginia brakey buns are better than the Kalani ones. I haven't had the brakey bun at Kalani. I've actually haven't been to Kalani. It's one of these circuits I'd love to go to, but never been there. But I can tell you, if the brakey buns could match up to, and I'm gonna really throw my age out there because I've got to do it. If it can match up with the Rowden racetrack, which was also called Lichtenberg, then cool. Second to that, the best brekkie buns I've ever had at a racetrack had to be the likes of, what's it? It would have to be Aldo Scribante would be my next pick on that one. Chase Herald, he's out onto the circuit. Good to see Chase Herald. CHR, been doing a lot of marketing on his side, a lot of setup work. Good to see him out there. So keep an eye out on Chase Herald Racing and Chase Herald in total. He's looking to put a bit of a charge. He is in the pro class, running second overall. But yeah, for anyone out there, go look up Lichtenberg racetrack. And then there was also Midval racetrack. It still exists. That's really good. But yeah, I would say in order, it would have to be Lichtenberg, Aldo Scribante, East London, Midval, and then I would have to put in, oh man, that will have to go to Swartkorps for the breaking back. No, that will go to West Bank Raceway. That no longer exists. So there we go. Jeez, now I'm getting hungry. Luca, what did you do to me, bud? Now I'm getting hungry. So, Jan Ferrari out in first place. Willem Buerta out in second. Peter Hubert in third. Swayze Chabert in fourth. Fifth is Timothy Stanton. Chase Herald trying to move up. Werner Swart launches up the order. He goes and puts himself into fourth place behind Peter Hubert. Lap times to beat at the moment is 1:57.09. We did see it get into the 56s, and that is going to be a proper run. Seeing that Doe Herber has also gone in and put a shout out. He's managed to get his car on the circuit, so Doe Herber has finally got himself out on the circuit. He's had a bit of a rough run this past weekend where he's watched a car drive around in an 8-hour but never got behind the wheel. So Doe Herber not able to race in the Fuji 8-hour. Was a bit disappointed that he couldn't be out for this race, but has made it. So our drivers have come in flocks and masses right here to the likes of RaceFace.Pro TCR. Round 3 at Virginia Raceway. This is Heat 2, ladies and gentlemen. that our drivers are going to be battling it out. They're currently on qualifying. Then we'll move on to our 20-minute race. So bear that in mind. The drivers have an opportunity. Full points if you score your top positions in your classes, and that does help you overall. So let's see how it's going to work. Fonnie Gravestein also out on the circuit. Good to see he made it right at the end of Heat 1. He's back out for Heat 2. He's going to look for some valuable points. He was originally out due to a power failure. So let's see if that's going to get him through it. A little bit flustered. Or if he's going to knuckle down on what needs to be done. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are so close. And I mean incredibly close to our 1,000 subscriber goal here at RaceFace.Pro, and it's been my little bit of a Christmas wish. It's been my target this year to go for it, and you guys can make a dream come true for RaceFace.Pro. And mainly, I'm gonna be selfish. You're gonna make my dream come true. Sorry, Bertus. I want to hit 1,000 subscribers. We're up to 992 at the moment, so it's within arm's reach. Make fake accounts if you have to. Wait, maybe that's not a good idea to say live on air, but it's worth going and just checking out there if anyone does feel a bit charitable. As we see likes of Peter Hubert going and catching up to Willem Buerto, who's sliding it around, trying to get every little bit of power out of this car and looking to claw his way through. So it's going to be a proper run. We do also have our Formula 1 2023 that are currently also live streaming. So if you're up for some Formula action, go and head over to the Formula 1 2023 brought to you by RaceFace. That's currently live streaming right now by TCGL and the guys from TCGL. Big shout out to them as well. Thank you for coming on board and showing off a different kind of racing. As our drivers put the pressure on, Jan Ferree still not able to get that 56. A very elusive Willem Buerto trying to close down the distance. He has got Luc Lucchesi ahead of him, trying to utilize the toe there to come across the line. Peter Hubert in third place. Fourth is Suez Hubert along with Werner Swart. Luc Lucchesi puts himself into second place. Willem Buerto, though, does go for a 57.008 as he comes across the line and goes and pips Ferree right at it at 0.080. So if you want to talk about pulling on heartstrings, forget about the Attack on Titan final episode. Come and take a look at the racing that's happening here. And yes, that is for everyone that has been watching the animes or knows manga. I'm giving away a lot of my who I am. I'm a nerd, and I am proud of it. And some say the brain cells in my head are pretty much the same as the two jellyfish in Shark Tank. Another way of giving up. Jingos, I should stop giving my age at this point. Peter Bear, he's putting in a great bit of fun. Chase Herald Racing out in 5th place. So Chase Herald running out a little bit wide there, a little bit too far. And then you got Suez Hubert, Werner Swart going and running in 2nd place of our Pro-Ams. Timothy Stanton, Roland Ferreira, Jeff Hancock's Arno Kraus, Yuri Swart Sr. Also a great bit of driving from his side. Does lose out of position to Noah Hendricks. Vissi Stolgrad down in 14th position. 15th is James Pepper putting a wheel on the dirt. Don't worry, James, I don't like this track either. It's one of these, you either work with it or you don't. It's like some people enjoy Nordschleife, others don't. Then we have got Steve Pepper out on the circuit. Fani Gravestein putting a little bit more of a charge. Doug Herber and Yuri Umpi Swart also trying to get a lap time in. That's going to work for him. Dropping a wheel on the dirt a little bit is taking a bit of time out of him. He's hoping to be a little bit further up the order and currently lying in last place in that 19th position. Let's see this time around if he comes across the line. And still not able. Well, it does improve. So Ferree putting himself with a 50. How on earth is that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Wow. Okay, so hold the presses. Stop that. Got to have a slug of drink. Bit of cream soda because Jan Ferree, Yuri Umpi Swart doing the exact same time, right down to a 10th of a second. They have tied their times. My heavens. First and second place tied their times. There is no peaceful, smooth music going on there. That is the same soundtrack that's playing off Doom at this point between the two of them. Willem Buerta trying to get a little bit more of a run. He is pulling Luke Lucchese along, and these two trying to work with one another to just get a bit of a slipstreaming effect. Werner Swart lying in fifth. First of our Pro-Ams fighting it out. He's got Peter Hubert trying to close down, and Chase Herald. Remember, Chase Herald has just come out onto the circuit, so he is not familiar with the circuit as it stands. He's not familiar with it. He's jumped into it, trying to get to grips with it within qualifying. Doesn't usually work, but hey, he's giving it his best shot. Suez Chabert, second of our Pro-Ams, lying in 8th, followed by Timothy Stanton, Roland Ferreira, Jeff Hancox, Arno Kraus, Noah Hendricks, who's been keeping a phenomenal drive. I just want to say, and this is more of a personal aspect, it's good to see Noah Hendricks back out on the track. I've had many chats with him. Phenomenal chap. Very, very quiet when you talk to him, but does put in a serious amount of effort into his driving. Actually streams to re-watch everything, which is, you know, commitment to the craft. And I've raced against him more than once. He actually is a big fan of driving the GTP cars, mainly the BMW GTP that's out on the iRacing service. Yuri Swart Sr. also can't take away anything from it. Growth through the season has been phenomenal on his part. Misty Stelgrad, James Pepper also trying to get a little bit more of a run as our qualifying ends. And Faree couldn't get a lap time fast enough to break away from Yuri Umpi Swart, who is still on the same lap time. Willem Buerta comes across the line. Luke Lucchese trying to get his way through along with Peter Hubert. Chase Herald, he has done his time and is happy with that 7th place where he stands. Timothy Stanton going and pushing a little bit harder. Roland Ferreira running over the curb a bit. That is going to impact the tires. It is going to impact the time, but he's trying to get as much of a rundown down the back straight. Noah Hendricks also comes across the line. He's pulling one of the cool camel cars, so that might be James Pepper that's behind him. Yes, it is. James Pepper comes across the line. Noah Hendricks is able to move up a position. James Pepper, on the other hand, puts himself into 10th place, utilizing that slipstream, so that's come to his benefit. Steve Pepper, who has just gone and sorted out the mechanical problems, taking a little bit of an easier drive, hasn't had as much practice on Virginia, and we'll see how it goes. Nico Killerman going and saying, go Umpi Swart. So, yep, Nico, you've missed a little bit here. He's tied with Faree in lap times. Will he be able to get the jump as he comes across the line? Getting a little bit more pace. Going. Is it going to be gone? And across the line. Does put himself with a 56.88. Coming across the line right at the last. So what a phenomenal run there. Killerman saying missing out the race. Unfortunately, load shedding coming into play. For anyone around the world that doesn't quite know load shedding, load shedding is when the power grid is getting turned off in sequence to allow that the grid doesn't collapse in on itself. Right, that being said, let's move on to the fun stuff. Yuri Umpi Swart out in first place, followed by Jan Free, Willem Buerta, Luke Lucchese going and running in fourth, Werner Swart, Peter Hubert, Chase Herald, Timothy Stanton, Suresh Jabeur, James Pepper, Roland Ferrer, Jeff Hancox going and making his way through in 12th position. Noah Hendricks in 13th, Arno Kraus, Yuri Swart Sr., Visti Stalgrad, Steve Pepper, Doe Herber, and Farney Gravestein rounding out our field tonight. For the final time, we are looking to go green right here at Virginia. And this is going to be a monumental for Heat 2, our final heat of the evening. Thank you very much, Tim. Yes, I've said it. You don't have to put it out on the cameras. Shingos, Tim has really got a bit of a talk at the moment. So, good to see him going and having a bit of fun out there. That being said, lined up on the line, ready to go, waiting for the green. The drivers standing start will be getting themselves sorted out. Jan Fourie starting in second place. Yuri Umpi-Swart just getting him at the last. Willem Buerta has not forgotten. Luc Lecchese looking to get the charge as we go lights on. 1 light, 2 light, 3 light, 4 light, and in the case of Murray, 5 laps. And here we go racing off to a bit of a slow start, but it does look like Willem Buerta getting the best start out of the field. Closes down. Chase Herald also getting a phenomenal start as he tries to make his way through. So Buerta looks for the inside line and big send. Little bit of contact. I think that was a bit of net code between Werner Swart and the likes of Luc Lecchese, because it looked like there was a bit of daylight between them. And it does look like Timothy Stanton trying to move his way through. Chase Herald gets past. Oh, Jabir goes flying out. Jabir flying off the edge of the circuit, has gone missing. He's gone to Hogwarts at this point. Willem Buerta in second place on the back of Fourie, looking to try and improve after his dismal Heat 1. Luc Lecchese getting a drive. Chase Herald trying to move his way up and through the order. Werner Swart trying to pull away. He's got Yuri Umpi-Swart. These two did come to blows a little bit earlier on, and now they are trying to give it as much as they can as they power their way through. Timothy Stanton a little bit further back, also trying to close down. A little bit of contact, it does look like, between Swart and Umpi as he comes across. Swart just able to get in front of Stanton. But Stanton going to be saying thank you very much on that one to Yuri. And Yuri is on the charge to catch up to Chase Herald ahead of him. While Werner Swart has got Timothy Stanton behind him, and Suez Jabir also trying to follow him in tow. Suez trying to move his way through the order. Roland Ferreira, Noah Hendricks ahead of James Pepper, who's got the bit between his teeth at the moment and trying to get a little bit more. Looks for the inside line. Noah Hendricks is going to have the advantage, so he's going to back out of it right at the last. But nose to tail racing as they move their way around the circuit. Right here for Heat 2. Willem Buerta dealing with Luc Lecchese right on his tail as they fight their way through. Luke going and pushing out as hard as he can, and Willem Buerta going a little bit too much off-road. Does compromise his drive. Luc Lecchese says thank you very much. Buerta trying to come back at him though, looking around the outside, is going to go for the late braking. Chase Herald looks to the inside of Yuri Umpi-Swart, so he's also trying to move his way through the order. Oh no, Kraus is in pit lane, so he has got a bit of a problem. Will need to get himself sorted out. Chase Herald on the back of Yuri Umpi-Swart. This is going to be a proper battle between the two. We've seen these two actually fight it out on the circuit in IRL, in real life. We've seen them go at it. Luc Lecchese keeping up the train with Willem Buerta right behind him. So these two are going and fighting out. That's allowing Fourie to pull away, but it also allows Yuri Umpi-Swart to get a little bit closer, Chase Herald to get a little bit closer. So if there's any communication coming through, these drivers are going to say, hey, listen, let's work on what we need to do here to ensure we have a fair run and also close down on the front runners. Then you've got Werner Swart. He's trying to get into the mix and close down. So Werner hoping to get a little bit more of a jump. Chase Herald going and running out wide. Yuri Umpi-Swart managing to open up distance. Buerta also looks for the inside line of Luc Lecchese. Couldn't quite get it to stick as they fight their way through. Did compromise his drive. That has got Yuri Umpi-Swart immediately onto the back of him. And now Yuri hoping to get a little bit more of a charge as Chase Herald is now losing part of the train. So Buerta going on the outside, tries to go and make sure that he can go on the inside of Luc Lecchese. Couldn't quite do it as yet. And you can see Yuri braking extremely late, getting right up against that rear wing as they fight their way through at the moment. And then they are fighting it out for class position as it stands. You can see Buerta tries to go around the outside once again. Didn't quite work out this time around. Goes to the inside line to try and defend against Yuri Umpi-Swart, who is in the tow, and get right behind Luc Lecchese as well. As Luke tries to push a little bit harder, Jeff Hancock's trying to make his way through the order. But what a dive from Yuri Umpi-Swart. A little bit of contact between himself and Buerta. Buerta goes out wide, loses out the drive. Werner Swart and Chase Herald say thank you very much. They're not going to argue with free positions there. Timothy Stanton going and getting onto the back of Buerta now has a bit of a chance to fight it out. He is running second in class with Werner Swart ahead of him. So right in front of him is a pro-class driver that he doesn't have to worry about. But if he wants to get a little bit closer to his competition, he needs to get around him. Roland Ferrer doing a phenomenal job. He's out in 3rd place in class. Noah Hendricks also on the climb, trying to move his way through. Swayze Jabeur, James Pepper and Steve Pepper running nose to tail with one another. A little bit of teamwork coming in from the Cool Camels. Then you have got Yuri Swart Sr. and Jeff Hancock with a bit of damage to his car, trying to fight it out. So Jeff had a coming together with a wall, I think, and that has taken out a bit of his drive. So going off circuit, landing up with a bit of a prang, and now needs to move forward. He has got Doe Herber immediately onto the back of him, trying to push as hard as he can. Doe Herber will be looking to try get a run. James Pepper losing out the drive does allow Steve Pepper to come through, and that is also allowing the likes of Yuri Swart Sr., who's going to fight it out. The two are going to go door by door with one another. Senior going and backing out of it. He's going to rather keep behind the young gun of James as they claw their way through. So, and then when you got Jeff Hancock's trying to send it up again, couldn't quite get it all together though, going and keeping a very close eye. Out in front though, Johan Fourie leading the charge with Luke Lucchesi closing down, and Yuri Swart as well trying to get a bit closer to him. So Yuri trying his might, does look up on the inside of Luke Lucchesi, couldn't make it stick just as yet, tries to go around on the inside, couldn't make it work. Chase Herald feeling the pressure from the likes of Werner Swart right behind him, but Yuri Swart up against the rear gearbox of Luke Lucchesi. Well, I can't say gearbox because it's all in the front, transverse motors and all. When we talk about transverse motors, we actually talk about the motor being sideways. So the gearbox is actually sideways. It doesn't come directly straight down to you. Natural progression of a hatchback. Look at a Golf's engine. Stupid. Sitting in the wrong way of doing things. So, as these front engines go and fight their way through the TCRs, so evenly matched despite the different body shapes, each having pros and cons, characteristics that can work out through the order. Werner Swart showing what the Elantra can do, Chase Herald showing what the Veloci can do, Yuri Swart showing what the Audi can do, and then we've also got the Honda Civic of Luke Lucchesi, who's just ahead. So Luke going in and also putting a great battle, great show of manufacturers as they battle their way through, but Luke Lucchesi keeping it ahead in this battle. Jeff Hancock's trying to go after James Pepper at this point. Doug Herber on his gearbox trying to close down, but our closest fight currently out on circuit for 2nd and 3rd place, and running in class order of 2nd and 3rd is Luke Lucchesi and likes of Yuri Swart, both looking to walk home with some valuable points this evening. Proper hard charge as Yuri Swart tries to get right up against gearbox of Luke Lucchesi ahead of him. Can't quite do it this time. He's going to have to just be a little bit more patient as they make their way through. Another battle that's starting to break out is Swayze Jabeur catching up to Noah Hendricks. Now, this is two cars that we haven't spoken too much about during the course of the evening. Noah Hendricks and Swayze Jabeur. Swayze also going and focusing on his charge, does try and close down. And what on earth happened to Peter Joubert? I just saw that he went into the pit. So Peter Joubert went off track. And let's try and take a look. What happened? I think he's got a bit of damage on that car. Yep, that front end not looking as sharp as it needs to be. Does go around. And I think there's a bit of steering damage there that came into play. So, unfortunate. But it does put him out a little bit further. So, Peter Joubert trying to get the car going once again, will be out on the charge. Johan Fourie checking his rearview mirrors. He sees Luke Lucchesi battling out with Yuri Swart, and they are going to be fighting it out properly at this point. Killerman supporting Yuri Swart at this time. Luke Lucchesi going and saying, well, I'm not going to let him go by so easily. They're going to fight it out. Yuri tries to go around the outside of Luke Lucchesi. Does so. Beautiful overtake. And Luke tries to close up under braking. Couldn't quite get it all organized and loses out the drive. A little bit further back, though. Nice little battle brewing in our Pro-Am division. Steve Pepper, James Pepper, Jeff Hancock, who has got literally no front to his car, has got terrible top end at this point, and his front tires will be starting to, well, leap off a cliff. You want to talk about load shedding being a pain? Well, going to remove the entire front of the car, and you will be having those front tires starting to carve themselves off, and the race starting to be a lot longer than planned. So let's take a look at who's sitting where in class. Jan Free out in first place for our pros, followed by Yuri Umpi Swart, Luke Lucchesi lying in third, Chase Harold lying in fourth, Willem Buerta lying in fifth in class, Noah Hendricks currently sixth in class, and Peter Bear lying in seventh in class. Moving on to our Pro-Ams, Werner Swart, who has got right on the back of Chase Harold, trying to push him along, has got Willem Buerta right behind him. Willem needs to get past Chase Harold, so Werner Swart leading it out of our Pro-Am. Timothy Stanton, Roland Ferreira, Suez Jabir, along with Steve Pepper, James Pepper, Jeff Hancock, Stowe Herber, Fanny Graveseen, Yuri Swart Sr., Visti Stelgrad, and Arno Kraus in 12th. But do want to point out Werner Swart. Oh, sideways action. Great catch from Chase Harold. What a catch, Chase. Oh, and then contact with Werner Swart as you try turning in to close the gap. He's able to keep it ahead of Buerta, but Buerta is going to come back at him. My heavens. What a catch. You don't get that right too often. And now Buerta, seeing that Chase Harold's got a problem, Chase does launch himself up on the inside, tries to come back. Werner Swart runs out wide. Werner runs onto the curbing. Chase pushing as hard as he can to try and get round. Little bit of bump drafting going on. Are we seeing that? So this is going to be interesting between them, but I do think Chase Harold at the moment is going a little bit of the old school route of trying to make your competitor get that extra 1 or 2 kilometers faster into the corner and lose out the drive, because you're going to miss your brake markers as he tries to go around the outside. Couldn't make it work. Willem Buerta does look for the inside line. Couldn't make it stick as he fights his way through. So great little ongoing battle here. And Buerta trying to get a little bit closer to Chase at the moment, who is fighting it out in class, well, fighting out with Willem Buerta in class, trying to get past. Oh, contact between himself and Swart. Swart going and losing out the drive, and Willem Buerta says thank you very much. He gets past it, and Werner Swart left to take on Timothy Stanton. So that has developed a bit of a change. Back out to the front though, Luke Lucchesi, Yuri Umpi Swart, they are still nose to tail against one another as time is starting to run out at this point as our cars make their way through. Luke Lucchesi off circuit, running out a little bit wide, tries to come back at Luke Lucchesi, doing everything he can to keep it all together, locks out the inside line. Yuri Umpi Swart constantly laying the pressure on, sees that likes of Lucchesi's making the mistakes at this point, and will be focusing on the charge. So some phenomenal running between the two. Side by side they go. Yuri trying to go around the outside and lock it out for the inside at the top of the hill. Does so. Luke Lucchesi comes back at him immediately, trying to go a little bit later on the brakes. Couldn't quite get it all sorted out, and will be focusing on the charge as he fights his way through. So great racing between the two of them as they fight it out for third in class. Going back to first and second of our Pro-Am, Werner Swart and Timothy Stanton. Now, Werner Swart will remember fighting out with Chase Harold. Chase pulling into the pits to get his car sorted out. So Chase going and getting himself into the pits and will be falling down the order. Timothy Stanton coming across the line. Roland Ferreira hoping to get a little bit more of a charge. And Suez Jabir along with Noah Hendricks going and making a run. And I see yellow flags for James Pepper. What happened to James Pepper? Late on the brakes. Oh, a little bit too late. Gets very close to the back of Jeff Hancock's. Just a slight tag. Gets it sideways. Rejoins the circuit. But it does look like that front bumper was clipped by the passing vehicles, so James having to get that repaired right at last. So just when you think you got it, it all changes, the whole race dynamic changing. Jeff Hancock's also getting a yellow flag put up. That might be a double yellows. He's behind, that looks to be Steve Pepper. So trying to force Steve into a mistake. Bit of contact between the two. Steve's able to catch the slide. Jeff Hancock, so stuck in the middle of the circuit, has to hold his brakes, wait. And Vissi Stolgrad coming past him, but Jeff losing out, trying to break that a little bit later. Unfortunately, that deep dive send didn't quite work out. Steve Pepper going and working in the world of correctional facilities. Won't be bullied out the way. He will put his arms out, get elbows out if necessary. So, Luke Lucchese, Yuri Piswat are fighting it out for second and third place. Timothy Stanton and Werner Swart, as Timothy Stanton is now taken over first in class. Werner Swart immediately trying to close down the gap on him and looks for the inside line, backs out of it. He's now going to try and follow his way through. Then we've also got Doe Herber dealing with Steve Pepper at the moment. These two coming to blow, which is great to see them having a bit of fun out there after they were having quite a bit of banter in the grandstands. Timothy Stanton keeping to a tight inside line will force Werner Swart to take the long way around. Werner going to try go later on the brakes, looks to sling it in, couldn't quite get it all tucked up and sorted. Timothy Stanton managing to get on the power just a fraction earlier, was able to get the drive out the corner, but Werner Swart immediately coming on the back of him. You can see those brake discs glowing red hot at this point as they fight their way through. Werner going and having to back out, does force Timothy Stanton to brake a little bit later. Timothy nearly running over and losing out that drive as they fight their way through. Even third place, Roland Ferreira dealing with Suez Jabir of our Pro-Am. So there is a major fight coming in our Pro-Am class. And our Pro class, Luke Lucchese and Yuri Piswat are still going hammer and tongs at one another. So it's good to see there's little dices all over the show, each trying to maximize their points for this evening. Each of them hoping that they are going to be a little bit quicker, a little bit better, and a little bit easier through the corners. And Roland Ferreira actually losing out that position to Suez Jabir. Suez managing to lock in that third place, now needs to get the hurry up and get away from the fight at hand. So 17 minutes and 30 seconds completed. Our race slowly coming to a close at this point. This is Heat 2. This is our final heat of the evening for our RaceFace.Pro. Round 3 of our TCR Season 3, going and slugging it out. Ferree leading out with a monstrous charge, and you can see just in shot as Tim the cameraman pans the camera up, sees Yuri Piswat and Luke Lucchese still on top of one another, fighting it out for second and third of our Pro class. Then you have got Timothy Stanton going side by side with the likes of Werner Swart. Chase Herald saying, unfortunately, his race coming to an end, and saying the generator died. Chase, I just want to say thank you very much for coming. It's good to see the car, and it's good to see that you've got CHR written on the car. Well done on the drive out there. Unfortunate that the generator gave up the ghost, but glad to see you there. Well done, Chase. Thumbs up. I have to take my hat off. And to see CHR after all the marketing that's been going on, it's good to see it out there in the sim racing world. Look forward to seeing some setups from you. There's an idea. As we see our Pro-Am fight, Timothy Stanton, Werner Swart, they are going to be fighting it out as much as possible. But time is running out. Time favors the bold at this point as they claw their way through. Swart trying to look for the inside line. Can't get past Timothy Stanton. Our Pro-Ams really putting in a monstrous fight. Suez Jabir up on the back of Roland Ferreira, who managed to get past, and they are clawing their way through. But as time is running short, Jan Ferree out in first of the pros, getting a little bit of a tank slapper. Got to be cautious doing that. Luke Lucchese and Yuri Umpi Swart, they are going nose to tail. Umpi managing to get ahead. They will have one lap to go after this. So one last lap for our drivers as they come across the line. Free leading out the charge. Yuri Umpi Swart will be seeing that there's just a little bit more to go. He's got to keep his foot in it. Breaks late. Luke Lucchesi says thank you very much. Tries to come back at him, but just couldn't get it all sorted out. A little bit later on the brakes, but Umpi just can't get that nose in where he needs it to be. Willem Buerta running in fourth of our pros. Then our Pro-Am. Timothy Stanton going off circuit though. What happened to Timothy Stanton and Werner Swart? Did Stanton just lock it up? He did. Locked it up off circuit. Werner Swart says thank you very much. And that puts to bed our Pro-Am race for Heat 2. Werner going to be going and wiping the sweat off his brow on that one. But Ferrari on a monstrous charge to try and break away. He's going to look to beat his previous lap time. His best was a 1:57.03 this time round. And looking to get into those 56s. I don't think he's going to have that ability. Once again, as they head onto the back straight. Yuri Umpi Swart, big look on the inside of Luke Lucchesi. A bit of a dinged bonnet, so Yuri has got a bit of damage to his car. Will be trying to straight line Luke Lucchesi at the moment, and the two door-to-door banging wheels as they fight their way through. Yuri Umpi Swart, Luke Lucchesi not going to back it out. Durant Motorsport versus RDSA. These two have a great rivalry as teams, but Yuri Umpi Swart just managing to get ahead. Jan Ferrari, though, will be coming across the line. He's going to be rather happy with this one, taking the first place position. Gonna be smiling with that, bagging 50 points right at the end. And a bit of side-by-side, Yuri Umpi Swart just beating out Luke Lucchesi, and minor between the two of them. And Yuri going and celebrating a phenomenal duel between the two of them. Then you have got Willem Buerta, Werner Swart coming across the line to take 5th place. And first of our Pro-Ams. Second of our Pro-Ams goes to Timothy Stanton. Great recovery on his part. Great battle for his run. Suez Jabir comes across the line. 3rd of our Pro-Ams, followed by Roland Ferreira. 4th of our Pro-Ams. 5th of our Pros goes to Noah Hendricks. Doe Herber getting ahead of Steve Pepper as they come across the line. Great running between the two of them. Steve managing to get his base up and going. Then you've got Yuri Swart Sr. in 7th position of our Pro-Am. Farney Gravenstein, who didn't think he would make the race, now comes across the line in 13th position overall. 8th in class. Visti Stolgrad coming across the line 9th and 14th overall. Jeff Hancock's a little bit lower than expected. Has got a bit of damage on the vehicle. Peter Hubert coming across the line. He takes 6th for our Pro class. And 11th for our Pro-Am goes to Honor Kraus. James Pepper finishing out in 12th in our Pro-Am class. Chase Herald finishing up in 7th. What a run, ladies and gentlemen. What a run. Sure. Well, that's that was exciting to say the least for our races. So, taking a look at our finishing results for our Pro, Johan Ferrari taking the top spot, along with Yuri Umpi Swart, along with Luke Lucchesi in 3rd place. Willem Buerta, Noah Hendricks, Peter Hubert, and Chase Herald taking 7th position. Moving on to our Pro-Am, we have got Werner Swart, Timothy Stanton, Suez Jabir, Roland Ferrer, Doe Herber, Steve Pepper in 6th place. Yuri Swart Sr. in 7th, Farney Gravenstein, Visti Stolgrad, Jeff Hancock's, Arno Kraus, and James Pepper rounding out our Pro-Ams. But what a race it was, and even if you take a look at our overalls, the drivers all mixing. Doesn't matter if you're in Pro or Pro-Am. Ultimately, it came down to the wire. This is some proper racing that's been going out on the circuit, and I've got to say, the TCR is putting on a great show. Nice to see a different from a GT3 class, which I think most people Wallpoint, my love is still single seaters, still goes out there. Visi Solgrad jumping into the grandstands right after his race, saying, "Great race, everybody. Good to see it out there." Visi, thank you so much for participating and coming and joining over one of our international contingents, going and having a bit of fun. But that being said, let's bring in someone to come and have a chat. Let's bring in Doe Gerber. Doe, can you hear me?
Meneer, how's it going?
Good, and yourself. Welcome to the stream, the man, the myth, the legend, the person that we don't get to hear too much from. How was it out there? A little bit of a close battle right the way through. You had to put in a fair amount of work. Your teammate also landing up with no bumper ahead of him. So take us through that race.
Yeah, so a bit of an arrive and drive situation for me this evening. Started, I think I was 17th on the grid, if I'm not mistaken. Kind of just took the approach that I was gonna, just kind of hang it and see if I can keep up with the crowd. I saw obviously that sooner than later, it was I think 4 or 5 of us that were in a kind of a small train there, circling the track the whole time. Looking sort of prodding here and there for a pass. I know a couple of times Jeff and I um, actually had some good teamwork going there, where we were kind of boxing in some guys and doing double overtakes and a couple of things like that. So hopefully not too rough. I think just kind of putting the elbows out a little bit. Quite a few mistakes were made by the drivers, which allowed me to get a few free overtakes, from incidents that were happening in front of me. So yeah, and then towards the end, I know it was Jeff, myself, and I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, James Pepper. That were
That was actually
battling
Steve Pepper that you were having.
towards the end. Yeah, towards the end, I think it was Steve. But before that, I think it was James before that in the Audi that Jeff and I were, battling with a bit there. And then I think the two of them had a coming together in turn 3 or so, which allowed me to pass. And then it was, I saw, hey, there I was lying 11th. So the next target was Stephen. Pushed, made him got him to make a mistake. And yeah, I'm happy with a top 10 finish for a kind of impromptu race. I'm happy with that result. Thanks, Stephen.
Absolutely a proper run out there. You had some difficult conditions, and I mean Virginia is not an easy circuit at all. But I know for some they're going to be wondering what's next. Our spectators are going to be sitting, what's next? Our drivers know what's coming next.
Yes.
But maybe you can let us know, considering this will be the first season that we're going to a single paid track on the service. And well, I'm going to flash it up on the screen, but maybe you can tell us as well.
Yeah, I'm not seeing the screen, but I do know the next round for the TCRs is the Red Bull Ring. It's one of my favorite tracks, for various reasons. I am a Red Bull fan, and yeah, I think it's going to be a track that's going to give us a really, really good race. It's got a good high speed corners, um, also some really good, heavy braking zones, wide tracks, so more than enough space for passing, good runoffs. So it allows the guys to push the envelope a little bit, more with regards to hard racing. So I'm really looking forward to it. I think Red Bull Ring, even in the officials on iRacing, it always gives a good race. So really looking forward to that final round at Red Bull.
Yeah, and next week we have got our F4s around Virginia International Raceway, so do not miss that. Before I let you go, and before we let our spectators go and enjoy the rest of the evening, is there anything that you would like to say? Remember, you got to keep PG, but you can thank anyone, challenge anyone. It's all
No,
on your side.
no, there's nothing particular, Stephen. Just the usual stuff we want to say. Obviously, thanks to RaceFace as the organization and community that supports this series. Baratus and the team, for the work they put in. We do appreciate it. I think it's also important to at this stage probably thank some of the thank the stewards. They're the guys that have the really thankless job of reviewing incidents. And handing out penalties. None of us like to do that. But yeah, so thanks to the individuals that are doing stewarding for us, and then obviously yourself, Stephen, and the broadcast team at RaceFace. Thank you to you guys for making it possible and being here every week to give us a good show. Yeah, I mean, I think there's some good. I can mention there's some really really interesting stuff coming in 2024. This season is coming to an end. I think everybody's tired. 2023 has been a long year for everybody, I think. But there is some really exciting news coming with regards to RaceFace in 2024, which we will share closer to the time. Probably in the next 2 to 3 weeks, we'll make some announcements. But I would say to everybody reviewing, watch this space.
Now, hit up on the Discord. Keep an eye on the social media out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Take a look at RaceFace.Pro. Visti Solgrad going to say, I'm going to challenge you on the Red Bull ring. He's looking forward to turn 1 and turn 3. So the challenge has been laid out. Do Herber versus Stolgrad.
Awesome.
We're about to see a bit of a fight between the two. That's absolutely fantastic. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you liked what you see, leave a thumbs up in the thumbs up. If you didn't like what you like seeing, you just put a thumbs down. It's always nice to get a little bit of interaction. If you're watching us in the future, please leave a comment as well. What part of the race was your favorite pass? And what do you think is going to happen at Red Bull? Drop us in the comments. Let us know what you think. And make sure you hit that subscribe button along with the bell notification icon, because we are on the road to 1,000 subscribers. And I am being rather selfish in this one, because I want to hit 1,000 subscribers, considering we up to 992. We are so close before the end. So, everyone out there, my challenge to you, get people to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon. Let's hit that 1,000 subscribe for 2023. It's been a long time coming. That's my goal. But Do, thank you very much for joining us. To you guys, the spectators, the teams, the drivers, the family members that keep us all going as well. Really, really appreciate you, and for all the hard work that they put behind the scenes. It's good to have you guys, and we can't wait to see what happens next right here at RaceFace.Pro. Can't wait to see what you guys come up with next as well. Make sure you hit the Discord, come to it. If you want to sign up for any of the racing, go to RaceFace.Pro out on our website, or even just go and take a look on SimGrid. We're there as well with our iRacing. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, like always, I'd like to say the usual. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, everybody.